Hello folks, thank you again for joining me for this week's meal kit. My name is Emily. I'm the registered dietitian here at Harvest Market. I'm in my kitchen and I'm gonna do some cooking today. So today, or this week rather, we have a really delicious meal kit recipe. So this is my take on orange sesame chicken and broccoli. So I love a good takeout dish, just like the next person. But sometimes I don't like it as heavy, deep fried. Sometimes I want something a little bit lighter. So this is kind of my take on that. We are going to do everything in the skillet, which is great because it saves on pots and pans. We do have a couple bowls that we're gonna dirty up, but I love a good one skillet dish. So we're just gonna jump right into the recipe. The first thing that we're gonna do is go ahead and steam our broccoli. So I like to do this in the skillet because you kind of get a little brown on the outside as well as steaming the broccoli. If you don't wanna do this, you can easily steam the broccoli in the microwave with a little bit of water in a bowl, cover it, a couple minutes, it'll steam your broccoli. So the only thing that you're gonna need from your own kitchen for this is some water. So this is just about a tablespoon of water, nothing crazy. We just need a little bit of water to create that steam. So I have a skillet here. This is, by the way, one of my favorite skillets. This is not an ad. I don't get anything for this. I just really like it. It is a Xylus pan, and they're really great because they're like a non-stick pan, but they're also really heavy duty. And I like a nice heavy pan that I feel like sits on my stovetop really well. It conducts heat really well. It's really even cooking. I just really, really like it. So anyway, if you're on the market for a new pan, I love this Xylus pan. We do have some here at Harvest Market. So I have a lid. So, oops, I got some water in there. So, by the way, if you don't have a lid specifically for a pan, just find any lid. It doesn't even have to be super tight fitting, just so long as it covers the whole pan. This actually doesn't even go with this, but it fits, so why not? All right, so we have this preheating. My pan is preheating. Remember, that's really important when we're cooking. We want to preheat our pan. We don't want to just plop in the food in a cold pan and then cook from there. So get your pan preheating while you get everything set up. So when we do the broccoli, what we're gonna need is just a bowl. This is going to hold the broccoli. I'm going to do a little bit of foil to cover on top. We need a tight cover. It's gonna kind of finish off the steaming and hold our broccoli warm until we're ready to eat it. So here we go. Okay, so what we're gonna do is your kit will come with some oil in this little cup. We're just gonna add a teeny tiny bit, maybe just about a teaspoon of this, not a lot at all. We wanna save the rest for the chicken. So we're just gonna swirl our little bit of olive oil, or our little bit of canola oil, I'm so used to saying olive oil, around the pan. Just swirl it about the pan, and then we're going to get our broccoli ready. Oh goodness. These bags are wonderful because they stay closed, but they're also really difficult to get open. Okay, so I like to break down my broccoli just a little bit into smaller pieces. So you can go ahead, once you get there, you can just kind of plop those pieces in. This promotes a little bit more, even cooking. And I like it nice bite size. That way I don't have to worry about it. When I'm eating it, it's just easier to eat. Okay, so you're just gonna take this. You can break it apart with your hands. You can do it with a knife. You can do it however you want. You are the chef in your own kitchen, aren't you? You are. Okay. Lovely. Just taking our time here. This is a pretty not labor intensive dish, which is great. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and, plop in all those little seeds, those little buds. Why not? Okay, back here. Excellent. So we're just gonna kind of give that a little toss. We're just gonna cook this just like this, uncovered, for maybe like a minute. Again, nothing crazy. I love the smell of broccoli. Is that weird? Do you love the smell of broccoli? I know sometimes it kind of stinks. I really like it. Ding! Dinner time. Not yet. I love broccoli. I really do. I think it's a delicious vegetable when cooked properly. Just like anything, right? I'm just gonna go ahead and get some other things open while I'm waiting. Why not? We can kind of work ahead. That's why I like parts of this dish, because you can really work ahead on it. So we're gonna take out, oh, it smells so good in here with the orange. I love oranges. Oh man. Okay, and we've got our garlic and ginger. Like twins. If I ever have twins, I'm naming them garlic and ginger. All right, crack myself up. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is turn up the heat. And in one hand, we're gonna have our water. You really wanna turn up the heat. Don't be afraid. You can always turn it back down. Because we want this to create a tss right when it hits the pan. That's what's gonna create the steam. So turning up the heat. In one hand is my water, and the other hand is my skillet. I couldn't get this really in the instruction sheet because it's hard to take pictures when both of your hands are occupied. So, doing it now to show you. Heat is turned up. We're hot. I'm gonna pour this in, then put the lid around on top. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Woo! There we go. You see that steam creating in there? That's what we want. Beautiful. Okay. Let that go, let that cook, let that steam. So that's gonna go for about 2 or 3 minutes. And don't be tempted to keep the broccoli in there longer, because it's going to continue to steam when we place it in the bowl and cover it. So, and you don't want overcooked broccoli. You want still there to be kind of a crunch going on, you know, some bite there. So don't overcook it. And it should be like bright green when it comes out of the pan as well. Okay, so we're gonna set our green onions aside because those are coming in later. And then let's kind of go over what we're gonna be having coming up. So I have my chicken in this bowl here. So we can probably do this now. And I'm just gonna take a paper towel and just kind of dab my chicken. If there's any moisture remaining on our chicken, we kind of want that off. Just wanna dab it. I mean, nothing crazy, just kind of get in there. Just go like this. A little dabble do ya. Okay, now we're going to take our cornstarch and our pepper, and we're just gonna shake that in here. So what the cornstarch is gonna do is it's going to kind of give us a little bit of a, not necessarily a crust per se, it's just gonna give us a nice brown on the outside of our chicken. So typically in an orange chicken, you do have a deep fried kind of nugget of chicken, right? Well, this is my lighter take, and if you want a deep fried, you know, go ahead. But this is my lighter take on orange chicken. Sometimes it's nice to have, you know, a lighter option. There's a time and a place for everything. Okay, set that aside. Let's check on this broccoli. Oh, baby. Yes. Okay, so this is bright green and steaming in my face. I'm getting a broccoli facial. Love it. It's gonna smell in my hair like all day long like broccoli. Good thing I like the smell, right? All right, so in this bowl, and you kind of see that there's a little bit of brown. You're gonna get a little bit of brownage on that broccoli, which I love. Okay, so going right into that bowl, everything. Set that back here. Make sure to reduce the heat back to medium, low. Okay, right away we're gonna cover this to continue cooking, continue steaming. I'll go right this. I'm just gonna tightly close this like so. Ta-da! Okay, set that aside. We'll come back to that later. And now we're going to add the rest of our oil into this pan. Okay. again, swirl it about your pan. So in your instructions, it'll tell you to kind of like test this a little bit, just to put one little guy in here, and it should sizzle, but it shouldn't like splatter at you. You just want to check your temperature so you can kind of see down in there. It's sizzling around the edges. That's what we want. We don't want this to splatter by any means, because that creates a mess and it's kind of dangerous. So keep adjusting your heat as necessary. If you feel like it's getting too hot, if it's splattering up at you, then turn it down a little bit. If you have one of those like splatter shields or something, you can also use that, but it shouldn't be crazy. It shouldn't be crazy in your face, splattering oil everywhere. We do want a nice sizzle, so make sure your pan is hot enough for that. And we have just enough oil in here just to give a nice brown on the outside of this chicken, but it's definitely not deep fried. This is more of like a pan fry, where we just have a little bit of oil in the pan, just enough to promote some brownage going on, okay? All right, I have some broccoli buds on my knife, so I'm just gonna clean those right off. So while your chicken is cooking, let's work on the next step of this. So, you know, this is how you become really efficient in the kitchen, is learning when you can kind of prep ahead, and when one thing is going, you can work on another thing so that your flow just moves really, really well. And that's how you really, you know, that's how you learn to create really kind of easy dishes, and is just time management in the kitchen. That's like, I would say that's really 85 to 90% of cooking, is just figuring out when to do things and start things so that everything kind of comes together when it should. Okay, so while our chicken is going, we're gonna have this go for about 3 to 4 minutes on this side. Again, just kind of adjusting the temp as necessary so that we have that simmer going, but it's not crazy popping at you. Okay, and everybody's stovetop is different, right? So just keep an eye on it. We wanna make sure there's a golden kind of browned outside. So as long as it takes to achieve that, and you can look if you need to, but really try to keep these undisturbed if possible. It's really hard, right? Don't we wanna just like get in there and like look every 5 seconds and look and look and look? That does not promote good, even cooking or browning. So we wanna make sure we leave it alone, let it do its thing. So I'm gonna do a slice on my onion, just a thin slice. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in half. So I cut the bottom off, and then I cut through the root top, just like this. And then we'll peel off that outer layer, like so. Beautiful. Keep adjusting temp as needed. I feel like I, needed to turn up a little bit. You can always adjust. So then we're just gonna do a nice thin slice. I like to do it like this. If you wanna dice your onion so it's kind of maybe like more uniform in there, go ahead. Again, you call the shots. Okay, other side, other side. These will shrink a little bit when they cook, so they don't need to be super duper thin. I'm just doing, I don't know, some slices like that, whatever that is. Okay, so I'm gonna keep cooking my chicken until it's browned on one side, and then we'll flip. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flip these guys over. You can, if you feel like it's popping a little bit, you can always kind of partially cover with your lid, because sometimes when the juice of the chicken hits the oil, it'll just pop a little bit. So we're gonna flip that over. Lovely, 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 lovely. Kind of spread it about your pan so that everything is, like, has some room, you know? Okay. So while that goes, we're going to get the rest of our stuff ready. So I have my onion ready. I'm gonna do my garlic next. Just pound it down so we can peel it off. Now you can use like a grater or zester. This is what I'm using to do my orange when it's ready. This is my little zester thing. I like to chop garlic because I feel like it's really small and I don't want to grate my knuckles. So I like to just mince it with my knife. And to me, this gives you really, really good practice cutting. And remember, practice makes perfect. So if you feel like your knife skills aren't super great, the only thing that's going to make it better is by doing knife skills, by chopping things. So it's great practice. Just kind of scrape it off my knife every now and then. And really just keep an eye on your chicken. If you feel like you need to maybe flip a piece because it's kind of big and you need to flip it so that it, you know, promotes even cooking, so every side is cooked. So I have this like oblong piece of chicken that has like really like a triangle piece that has 3 sides that all need cooked. So, you know, feel free to flip that over to make sure that it cooks well. We're at a good sizzle here. I got a little popping going on, so I'm just going to turn it down just a hair. But again, this is normal when the chicken juice kind of leaches out. As it cooks, the fibers shrink, and then out comes some of the liquid that was held in there. And when that liquid water hits the oil, you'll get some of that little popping. So just be aware. And again, you can always use this as kind of like a shield by covering just like half of it. We don't want to cover the whole thing because we don't want our chicken to steam. We want it to brown. Okay, off to the side. Now with ginger, I do like to use my grater because and I don't feel the need to peel my ginger because, especially when it's really fresh and the skin is thin, it's totally fine, totally edible. And there's just a lot of fibers in ginger. And so those fibers will kind of stay up top. And I don't necessarily want those really, really fibrous pieces. I just want the other pieces. Okay, so kind of scrape that off of your grater. This is I'm going to be honest with you, I don't have the best zester. I've had it for a really long time and I feel like it's just not sharp anymore. I'm on the market for a new one. That's okay. You can also use a box grater. Those work fine too. Ooh, there we go. We're getting some brownage going on, folks. Excellent. Love it. So if you have some really large pieces of chicken as well, you can always kind of use your tongs or whatever it is that you're using to kind of break it apart so that it promotes more even cooking, especially some of the larger pieces might not cook all the way through as fast. It might kind of brown a little bit too much on the outside but not cook through on the inside. So feel free, you can always use some sharp tongs to just kind of pry those pieces open. Oh baby, looks good. So the rest of this comes together pretty fast. So we have all of our aromatics ready to go. We have our orange cut ready to go. If you have a 4-person kit, you're going to have a whole orange, in which case don't cut it until after you've zested it. It's harder to zest. I mean, we're going to be doing it with this, but it's easier to zest when you have the whole orange. We have our sauce, parts 1 and parts 2. One is the liquid part, one is the dry part, and it'll all come together in this pan in just a minute. So I have a plate here ready for when my chicken is done. All right, so I feel like my chicken is nice and browned, so I'm gonna go ahead and set this off, and we're gonna cover this. Lovely, juicy, yummy chicken. We're not gonna overcook this. We want our chicken to be nice and tender. Okay, ooh, a little popping. Turn it down a little bit. Just got some of that chicken juice there. Okay, so we're gonna cover this. This is going to promote the chicken to kind of continue to cook a little bit, and retain all the juices and all that good stuff. So now, without doing anything to the pan, we're gonna go ahead and add in our onion, Just our onion, just our ginger for right now. Just onion, just ginger. We're gonna save the garlic for just a minute because I don't want my garlic to burn. But I really want the heat to hit that ginger. I want to be able to smell it. So we're just going to add this into the pan. There should be just a little bit of residual oil in here, just enough to coat your onions a little bit. Okay, just kind of spread those about the pan. I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit because I want a little brownage going on. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So we're going to cook this for about a minute. All right, once that minute is up, so your onion should already starting to become a little bit translucent. You should really be able to smell that ginger. We're gonna add the garlic and cook just for about 30 seconds or so, just until we smell it. Spread it around the pan. We don't wanna burn that garlic. We just wanna really bring out all of that flavor. Okay, we're gonna add the liquid portion of the sauce first, making sure to get everything. Excellent. Now we're gonna do our orange. So we're just going to zest this orange, making sure just to get the orange part, not really the white part underneath the pith. It's kind of bitter. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. And this is really, really, really important, you guys. Please, please, please don't skip zesting this orange. Most of the flavor comes from the zest. That's where, oh goodness gracious. Well, if you do that, it's okay. You can just pick it up and continue. That's where all of the oils come from. Really, all of the flavor comes from the zest. A little bit goes a long way. Make sure you scrape that all in there. All right. And then squeeze all that juice. It's okay if you get some of the orange in there. I kind of like it. Squeeze. Kind of messy, totally worth it. All right, give that a stir. Oh boy, it smells so good. Okay, drop in the cornstarch, brown sugar, turn up the heat, stir that all in till it's dissolved. We want to bring this to a bubble. Remember, cornstarch thickens and it's activated by heat. So once we turn this up to a bubble, do you see it simmering? It's gonna thicken. You're gonna see it happening right away. Oh, this is luscious. Absolutely delectable. And before your eyes, you have your sauce. What do you think of that? We're just gonna cook this for like 30 seconds to a minute at a simmer. I'm gonna cut up some of my green onion to top. Nice, delicious garnish. Adds a brightness and pop of color. I go all the way down to the tips, all the way down. Beautiful. It's ready, and this is beautiful and thick when you run your spatula through. Look at that. Do you see that? Parting the seas. All right, we're gonna take our chicken that's been waiting oh so patiently, any accumulated juice, right into the pan. We're gonna turn this down or even off because it's hot. And we're just gonna toss our chicken in that saucy sauce. We got those onions in there. It's just beautiful and aromatic. It's not super heavy, but our chicken is coated. It is delicious. You guys, the smell is unbelievable. I can smell the orange, the garlic, the ginger, the onion. So stinking tasty. You smell that sesame oil, just a little bit in there, but holy moly, is that sesame oil potent. And you have your orange chicken. Ta-da! So fast, so easy. Everything's in one pot. So tasty. And don't forget, if you have your any rice, and don't forget your broccoli that's been sitting patiently. You can option of tossing your broccoli in here with the sauce. I like to kind of serve it on the side, but that is steamed, ready to go. Put a little salt and pepper in there if you want to, even some like sesame oil if you have it. I think it's good, like kind of as a palate cleanser with the sauce. So I just serve it on the side. Also too, if you got cauliflower rice or riced cauliflower, I like to kind of saute it in a pan, microwave it a little bit, little salt and pepper. Really good, really simple. I hope you guys enjoy this. There is a tofu version of this if you got the vegetarian. I do have a brief tutorial on how to press tofu in my video library on my YouTube channel, so if you want to check that out if you're not sure. But yeah, pretty much same method of cooking here. Super easy. I hope you guys like this dish. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week and day, and I hope I see you all very, very soon. I'll talk to you later.